Splatoon 3 is the new Splat-tastic face in town and is the biggest one yet. Well, and it's also the same game from 5 years ago. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you come into this looking for more of the same, plus a little bit of extra, you're gonna get it in spades. New maps, weapons, customization, characters, single player, along with a plethora of updates to previous fun game modes, it's definitely enough to qualify as a new game. But when you sit down and think about it, there's not a lot of genuinely fresh ideas here. It's more of what you would expect out of a Splatoon experience, and that's about it. Player versus player with turf wars and ranked, player versus enemy with salmon run, and a level-based single player taking on evil octopus. Octopi? Octo-squid. With all that being said, is it still fun? Of course it is. It's Splatoon. Like I mentioned earlier, this game does pride itself on being the biggest Splat experience yet, and it does live up to that fact. The amount of stages for Turf Wars and Ranked at launch is exceptionally better than both 1 and 2, with more on the way. That being said, there's still 2-stage rotation method being used, which really drags out long play sessions, especially for Ranked. Want to play a certain competitive mode? Hope you're willing to wait your turn for the exact time it's scheduled for. It's just not a great system that the player base has had to get used to, as there's really no other options. Customization has also been one of the biggest additions pushed. New names, tags, victory poses, and of course a gacha machine to gamble away your life savings. All for some weird titles or an EXP stub. There's also lockers with decorations you can unlock, whether it be through story mode or a new shop with rotating items. There's a lot of variety in the Splatoon community, and some very creative lockers. Whoa. What? No. I'm just gonna take a breather. Now, how's the actual gameplay? Well, let's start with... This one has stayed the de facto Splat classic. Try to cover the map with more ink than the other team, make sure to ink your base or you will lose, and, of course, always booyah back for the homies. Ability to aim is not required, but very helpful. Ah yes, competitive Splatoon. This is probably where you'll have the most PvP fun, featuring a variety of modes as long as you don't get... Sorry. As long as you don't... After crying about my $20 that seemingly went into the void that is Nintendo Online, I managed to get into a game. No. Alright, here's the 4 current rank modes. Here are the ones I enjoyed playing. Each one is genuinely very fun, simple to understand, and can actually get intense. Shout out to Splat for somehow having the only in-game ranking system where you can move up for playing well on a poor team. They're real for that. Live out the American dream with your comically greedy bear boss, who only pays you overtime when facing a Godzilla mutant salmon. This is pretty much my favorite mode in the game. Pairing you up with a team and random weapons, which may or may not be terrible on both ends, is surprisingly exciting. And cooperating with your coworkers to defeat each boss creates a super rewarding experience. Just don't let the glowfish set in. Just don't. There's no coming back. Holy sh... Splatfests are now all split 3 ways, featuring the new idols, one of which somehow holds an even bigger forehead than Pearl. All 3 of them have some great qualities, and of course, one of them is the biggest man, so I mean, how could you hate them? With the 3-way Splatfests, of course there's a new game mode to go along with them. Tricolor Fights, in which 2 teams pair up against the current leading team of the Splatfest itself. At the moment, they're not super balanced. The leading team has to defend a point called the Ultra Signal from the opposing teams, while inking turf. As the 2 opposing teams, you have to get to the center point and take the signal for bonus points while inking turf as well. Believe it or not, it's a little bit skewed in the opposing team's favor. They're a work in progress. Classic Splatfest action is also there, of course, pairing up 2 teams at a time to duke it out in turf wars. This is the big kahuna of Splatoon single players. All taking place in this hot spot of lore, ending with the coolest finale ever. Now, front and center, I gotta say, Splatoon lore goes deeper than I thought. You'd think, simple game where squid people shoot ink wouldn't be that deep, but oh my god. Extinction of humanity, the evolution and creation of modern day squid and octo kids, all taking place in the very vessel that led to the birth of Splat kind. It goes deep. Gameplay-wise, it's a fun mashup of Splat 2's Octo expansion combined with the previous games. Your goal is to amass enough power eggs and use your little buddy here to make your way through these ancient human grounds, now taken over by a mysterious ooze. The Octo army from the last story modes are all still here, however, now they are slightly fuzzy. Within each level, the player is offered a choice of weapon, the price of entry if needed, and your goal, ranging from take out these enemies in a stylish way, precisely recreate this statue, or hit these targets on a rail and don't miss once or you're boned. The Squid Sisters are once again back helping you. However, Captain Cuttlefish has been kidnapped! So, you have to track him down while being bombarded by Deep Cut, the previously stated idols for this game who happen to be criminals on their off time. Which is actually a very nice change of pace for the series. This whole thing is worth playing for the final boss alone, honestly, because damn, it gets crazy. So yeah, like I said, it's fun. Fun just like Splatoon 2 was, and Splatoon 1. At the moment, I feel like this Splat will only be fun for a certain period of time. However long that time will be is really up to the developers and Nintendo. There's already news of DLC and extra content being produced, which is crazy because the game came out a month ago. I'm hopeful that it will at least add something new that brings Splatoon as a whole in a different direction than just what's consistently offered. There are glimmers of new content like the card game they implemented, which I didn't really cover because I didn't think much of it. It's neat, definitely, just not very notable. I think trying to up the ante and bring in more new ideas like Salmon Run is what Splatoon is going to need. Of course, I don't want it being stretched and bloated with content, maybe just a couple of solid ideas to really justify more entries. Because I can promise the last thing I want is a yearly stale Call of Duty release method. I think Splatoon as a whole has a bright future ahead of it. The fact the game has such an adoring and supportive community is proof of that. I'm just hoping going forward it can have some more room to grow and branch out of its confining established rules. Either that, or Splatoon 4 is going to be the first game to sell 1 trillion copies featuring Little Buddy 2.